Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Strategy Game Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Shippey, and today we're continuing our Seen, Known, and Heard series, and we're talking about friends. So if you think of all of the different types of friends you've had in your life, I would guess that it looks like a myriad of different personality types, all types of hometowns, life experiences, and a lot more that make up this great tapestry of the different types of people that surround you, have influenced you, been threaded throughout your life. We spend a lot of time collectively with friends over the years. They hold a lot of weight and influence in our lives. And so it's worth examining and really thinking about the impact that each of them have and how we can see, know, and hear them. It brings just a new level of intimacy and connections in our relationships, and that fuels us to move forward. If we're able to do this in a healthy way, we can take a lot, and we can also we can give and receive a lot in these relationships. And that really helps us to understand each other, to empathize with each other, even if we have different views. And there's just so much that we can learn from their perspectives over the years. But we can also just feel really seen, known, and heard by these relationships. And I'll go through the different types of relationships that we have. And each one of them has something to offer, each one of these groups. And so as I was writing the book, I was thinking about the different types of friendships that we have in our lives. And there are those from acquaintances all the way to our friends that we've had for a lifetime that influence us. And each has a different role to play. So let's take a closer look. The first group that I was really thinking about are acquaintances. So these might be people that we think of kind of on the edge of our periphery. They're people that we might see on a regular basis, but we don't necessarily know them very well. So maybe we have known them for years or seen them for years, but for whatever reason, we haven't really made an effort to become closer. And maybe there are reasons for that. We might see them in passing because of our daily route or a similar place we frequent, but we don't necessarily know them very well. Regardless of that, I want you to think if there's an acquaintance or a person that you've always noticed that you think, I really like just seeing that person. Just seeing that person in my day brightens my day. And I almost don't even know why, but just their very presence, just the way that they carry themselves or act or the look on their face or what they're wearing just gives me joy. And that can be just appreciated. There's something in that that actually impacts each of our days. And if we recognize it, we can lean in to say, hey, I might want to know that person more. I might want to even just tell them that it impacts my day and what I love about them. And I think there's just something so actually subtly important about recognizing those acquaintances because they do contribute to our day. And then there's circumstantial friends. So these are just many people that you might come in contact with every week that just on your normal route to work, you stop for coffee or your kid's school or a special interest or hobby that you have, or even caretaking for someone in your life, certain periods of time. You tend not to really think of these friendships too often, but they might become closer than family in certain seasons or even a good friend in certain seasons because we might be with them so much. So we're gathering with these people on a regular basis around something shared, around something that's happening. If it's a school function, if it's hobbies, if it's caretaking, we're there for the same reason. And that common bond really brings us together and we're able to relate on that level. And so the common ground is already there in a way. And it's sometimes these relationships feel good because it's kind of a break from the people that know us super well or lifelong friends or just our same family relationships. It's kind of like a breath of fresh air because we have this common ground and we can just enjoy this commonality without all of the extra layers of deeper or longer friendships, because sometimes those also carry with them a certain weight. So this brings just joy to our days, because we can just feel a little bit more carefree as we're hanging with these people. Maybe it's several times a week. And maybe we're just talking more about circumstantial things like the hobby or school or whatever's happening. And it feels like a safe space, and we can use that safe space to just enjoy that friendship. And so recognizing what spaces you have that and leaning into that when you need it also is can be a really important way for you to feel a bit lighter and freer throughout your days. And then we have lifelong friends, and those are the kind of friends that you've known since you were a toddler. So I'm sure you have a couple of those. Think about who they are, picture them in your mind. They've been in your life for pretty much forever. They know what our family was like. They know what our childhood was like. They know what our school life was like growing up. And this history alone just brings the sense of closeness, even if we don't talk to them for years or but once a year. We can go right back to where we were and we can pick up where we left off. And we really have a unique bond with these types of friends because they were a part of our formative years. We may have certain memories of going through things with them, whether it be PE class growing up, getting into trouble, sports, running through the neighborhood. We had maybe some of our first conflict, our first relationships, our first happy memories with them. They tend to understand us in a way that maybe even current friends don't, because they know what our house looks like on the inside growing up. It's just, they just know us in a different way. They know what was hard for us. They know what we find funny. They know all the little things that other people, maybe not even our significant others, know about us. And there's something about that. There's something about being known for the long term that can bring us a sense of comfort that we can enjoy. And so just think about the people in your life that hold this space and just appreciate it for what it is. I think there's a lot that we can really appreciate about this. And then we have our ride or die friends. So there's nothing like these friends. They're the friends that you know will stick with you throughout life. They've seen you at your best. They've seen you at your worst. They know some of your deepest thoughts, and they still love you anyway. They know what your daily life looks like right now. They love your kids like theirs. They know what you really want to do for your birthday. Even if you won't say it out loud, they've seen you at your best and your worst. And so they've celebrated with you. They've cried with you. And they're here for the long haul. And there's nothing like ride or die friends. There's a certain power to this, to being together in this space. At times they can seem even closer than family. And they are really there for you throughout different seasons of your life to walk with you through them. And sometimes you don't even have to say anything, or they don't even have to say anything. And they know what you're thinking, or they know where you are, or they know what you need. They know your strengths. They know your weaknesses. They know what will set you off. They know what you like and you don't like about your family, all the triggers that are hard. And so these friends have seen and heard you over years, and they know you deeply. And it feels good to have this space and comforting to be known by them. So in all types of different ways, each of these groups of friends or people make up a small or large part of your life in terms of time and in terms of impact. And just by thinking about these people and recognizing the different roles they play in your life can bring you joy and can bring you another layer of freedom and almost healing in a certain way when you realize, hey, you know what? That acquaintance is bringing me this sense of comfort that I didn't even recognize in my daily life. Or this ride or die friend saw me here, and that meant so much to me because X, Y, or Z. And so really, what we can do is just recognize that connection is so important. And we have people in different seasons of our lives that serve just certain purposes, and we can cultivate those connections. And another thing that we can do is really just, we can see, hear, and know them. And I think when we recognize the role that they play, in our life or have played in our lives. It also leads us, just this subtle shift, you might not even have to say anything. They might just feel it when they're around you. Your appreciation for who they are, your recognition for their role in your life. And so I just want to encourage you to lean in. I just want to encourage you to listen to these friends and the roles that they've played, and see and hear and know them right where they are. Just lean in, seek to connect with them, and your life will be a lot more full and meaningful. So as always, thanks so much for listening in, and head to storywork.co for more, and we'll talk to you soon.